What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I'm James and you're watching Blue Dog Aquatics. Alright, as y'all remember from last week, we did our top 10 favorite reptiles. So this week we are going to do our top 10 favorite freshwater fish. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, up first is number 10, and that is the iridescent shark. Now, the iridescent shark, most people see them when they're like this big and they're like, oh, they're so cute, but they don't realize that those things get huge. I mean, on average, iridescent sharks grow to 3.5 to 4.5 feet and weigh upwards of 100 pounds. You need a very, very large tank, but the reason they're on this list for me is because I just love the way they look when they're big. I mean, it's like most of us when we get older, you know, we have that pot belly because we're just like, screw the gym, we don't care, you know, and they just wander around all happy, and you can see in the pictures here, they're just happy as can be, and that personality and that look, that's why they're on this list. But now on number 9, we go from the iridescent shark into the Bala Shark. Now the Bala Shark doesn't grow nearly as big as the iridescent. The iridescent, you know, as we just talked about, grows to 4 feet, but the Bala Shark only grows to 14 inches. So very, very size difference, and it's crazy on how you can have two very similar sharks in personality, but they grow to two very different sizes. I enjoy the Bala Shark, and that's because A, it's very streamlined, and B, it kind of reminds me of a black tip. Now, as you guys know, black tips are saltwater, but this is a freshwater list, so that's why we have the Bala Shark on there. Don't mind my hair, I just got out of the shower, so it's nice and wet, and the fan's just blowing it everywhere, so yeah. I know it's crazy seeing me without a hat. Sometimes people see me without a hat and they're like, oh my god, are you the same person? I'm like, yeah, I just wear a hat 90% of the time. They're like, oh my god, you have hair? Yes, I have hair. Yeah, that's the joke for the day. Yeah, James has hair. Anyway, we have the Bala Sharks, and yeah, the Bala Sharks are, I mean, they're streamlined, and just because they only get to 14 inches, you still need a very, very large tank in order to have them in, because, I mean, think, 14 inches, that's a very big fish, and so you want to make sure that it has room to move around. Honestly, a raceway tank wouldn't be a bad idea, just like any other shark, but they're on this because I like the way they look, and yeah, they remind me of black tips. So now number 8, we kind of do a 360 because we go from sharks to convicts. Now you're thinking, oh, convicts, oh, jail. No. Convicts is a type of cichlid. Right now at the store we have a couple of different ones. We have the black convict and the blue convict, but being as blue is my favorite color, today's list is the blue convict. And that is what falls in at number 8. Now, blue convicts are, it doesn't matter if they're blue or black or purple or whatever. They're all, and I wonder, is there a purple convict? That'd be kind of cool. But convicts are kind of jerks. I mean, they live up to the name of being in the cichlid family. But the reason I go with blue, A, my favorite color, B, they're just, I don't know, they're kind of like scared little children when they're in a tank unless they're a mated pair. And we found this out recently. We actually have a bunch of babies at the shop because we had a bunch together and 2 of them paired up and went off and had babies, and now they're kicking the crap out of everybody else because they're like, stay back, these are our babies. And I'm like, so then I try to go in and, you know, help the other ones and move them to another tank, but they're like, oh my god, run away! And I'm like, run away? You're getting beat up! buy this other convict. Why wouldn't you come with me and I'll get you a new home? But I like the zigzag pattern down the side of the convicts, and convicts for me are still very new. I am by no means an expert in them. Up until a few years ago, I didn't know the difference between a South American cichlid and an African cichlid. I had no idea. But I mean, like I said, we won't stray too much. As you can see in this picture, they're very beautiful fish. They do better. I wouldn't do more than a couple in there, and for the exact reason that I just talked about. On if they mate up and move on, they can start dominating the tank. Number 7 is the leery tail mollies, and you can see on these in the picture how the tail kind of goes up, and that's where the leery tail actually gets its name. Right now we have black and yellows, so it's kind of like a Halloween theme. I wish they were like black and orange. So that we could just have a Halloween themed tank. How cool would that be? We're just like, yeah, Halloween year round. Holy crap, my phone is going off like crazy. Oh, sorry about that. But I don't know. When we go from things like Bala Sharks and convicts and everything with attitude to something like a molly, who, let's be honest, all it wants to do is breed and just hang out. Like, it really doesn't care. It's like, okay, I will eat, I will do this, but I'm not going to put too much effort into it. It's like, whatever. But they're really cool to look at. I love the way that their tails are designed and the way that they're streamlined. If you want a very basic, easy fish, aside from a guppy, the leery tail mollies are the way to go. So. Now up next for number 6 is the longfin blue Danio. I think you can kind of see why this is on the list, because once again it's a blue. But it's not as blue as, let's say, the blue convict. It has very small hints of blue in it, and they stay relatively small. You know, most Danios, the giant or the large Danios, they get huge. They can get that 4 or 5 inch stride, and they're very streamlined. Well, longfin blue Danios only grow to 2.5 inches, but they'll still very much streamline. They're very quick on the go. They're a nightmare to catch in a tank, but when they go around and have that light, they can shimmer around, and the shimmer effect on the side of them is, you can see that blue down the middle of them and up on their tail, and it's just incredible to see. So, but yeah, I don't know. I like Danios just because of how quick they are. They're somebody that's just, you give them lots of sugar and they're like, oh, I'm gonna run 20 miles. That's kind of how blue Danios, or well, Danios in general are. And that's why these guys made the list at number 6. Without further ado, let's jump, well, we're halfway. We're getting ready to jump into number 5. But before we do that, if you're enjoying this channel, make sure to like and subscribe. As you guys know, drop a comment down below if you're enjoying this. We're trying something new, trying a new video, trying a new series. So make sure to enjoy it, make sure to like it, make sure to subscribe it so we can keep growing this channel each and every day. I do want to give a big shout out to all my friends that were down at Aquatics Orlando. We weren't able to make the trip, which stunk. Trust me, we were really bummed that we couldn't go, but we hope you guys all had a great show and had an amazing time. So yeah, also make sure to follow us on TikTok. I will put that link right here. Our TikTok has been blowing up, so has our Facebook, Instagram, so I will throw those up right here too. And like I said, make sure to subscribe to our channel. I know, that's really annoying, right? Alright, without further ado, number 5. Alright guys, number 5, I actually have to pull it up because it's got a really long name, but it's a really cool animal. And you can see right here. It is the gold ring butterfly Hillstream Loach. and it's a utter mouthful, and I don't know, man, it's crazy some of the names that some of these fish have, and like, it's like, you know, Loach. Okay, it should be just Loach. But then you have someone that discovered it and bred it, and then you have Gold Ring, Hillstream, and then you have a designer package, and it's just crazy. Obviously, there's a very reason why I love these guys, and the reason why they made this list, and that's because, I mean, look at them. They're so cute. They're just little, and they only grow 3 to 4 inches, so they stay relatively small. So when it doesn't matter what size tank you have them in. Obviously, if you put them in a very large tank, odds are you're probably never going to see them because they're an algae eater, and so they're just going to stay hidden. But if you have a smaller tank, I mean, you could put them even down into like a 10-gallon tank and they'd be content. But I mean, look at that pattern down their back. I mean, it's just insane. It's like, how were you made and how were you created? It's just incredible, the color variation. But yeah, I like these guys. I hate catching these guys because they will suction to the side of the glass, and then I gotta use, like, I tried using a net once and that just worked out horribly. Don't ever try to catch these guys with nets. But if you use a specimen cup, then you can come up and kind of shimmy them along the glass until they like move off the glass and go inside the specimen cup, and then you flip it up really quick. And but if you do that, make sure not to splash water everywhere. I've done that a couple of times. But coloration, definitely a favorite on these guys. So that was definitely number 5. Number 4, you'll enjoy. Number 4 is the Cardinal Tetra. Now, we all know what Cardinal Tetras are. Most people see them and think neon tetras, but the difference between a neon tetra is that color variation, that blue and red, doesn't go all the way to the back, whereas a cardinal, it's all the way through. Obviously, what got me on Cardinal Tetras was actually an Aquatics show. They had this huge cylindrical, there we are, cylindrical tank, and I mean, there probably was 700 cardinals in here. And I was like, how many are in there? And he's like, I don't know, somewhere 700,000, I don't know. But it still didn't even seem like a lot for this tank. Like, you probably could have thrown in another 700 and been all right. They're amazing schooling fish, and they move around. I mean, definitely don't buy them singular because they do like to school, and that shimmer effect when they just moving around a tank and that coloration, it's definitely something I could sit and watch for hours, and that's definitely why these guys are at number 4. Number 3, I know, we're almost down to number 1. We're so close. Number 3 is the Selas rainbow fish. Now, I know you guys seen in one of my videos that we had rainbow shiners, which are pink and red and have like the little blue dots on them. The Selas is actually a little bit reverse of that. They have the yellow down their body with little glints of coloration down their body. But these guys are absolutely cold water. They are, I mean, they're so quick. It's crazy. Like, you can blink and they're halfway across the tank. But these guys prefer cold water or cool water. They prefer fast moving water, and which kind of gets difficult when they're in a smaller tank. But if you were to do like a 120 gallon or 200 and you had just to school these guys in a wave maker, and I mean, I'm sure these guys would be in heaven. Care is very easy on them as long as you keep that water temperature down. Now, the way we accomplish this, there's a couple ways to accomplish this. So you can either put a chiller on, your choice, they're typically about a couple $100, or what I do every morning is I throw a frozen water bottle in there, and during the day it melts, thaws it, brings down that temperature, and then the temperature is where it needs to be. Because even though we don't have heaters in those tanks, with the amount of tanks that are in there, it just brings up the heat, and then you have the heat from the reptile side that comes over, and it's insane. But without further ado, do you know what's next? Do you? This number? Number two. Number two is the Pea Puffer. And quite simply, I mean, they're just so cute. They're like that big. They don't grow any bigger. They're a dwarf species. I mean, they're not like the Pea Puffer that can grow huge, which honestly, I love Pea. But people, I mean, they are freshwater species, don't get me wrong, but Pea get really big, and you need to be able to accommodate that, and Pea need to live alone, because they will essentially eat anything that's with them. Pea Puffers you can get away with, and the way we did that is you put a Pea Puffer in with a very, very fast fish. So that, and also if you keep your Pea Puffers fed, which they eat snails, and so they can help shave down their beak, or they eat krill, and they're just so cute. I mean, it's just all that cuteness balled up in just a little ball. Yeah, that's why they're number two. I mean, they're adorable. But without further ado, number one. Now, number one, as always, it's going to be koi fish. And the reason why it's koi is because all my life and a lot of the last several years, I have bred koi, and I love every color variation there is of koi. My favorites would be the platinums, and be wary because, like, I have koi right now at my shop, and I knew I would. I was hoping to put them in a pond, but we didn't have room for a pond, so they went in a tank. But right now, my koi are about that big. Now, mind you, that koi that's that big, people come in, they're like, oh, it's cute. Oh, it's cute. Yeah, that koi will grow 4 foot max length. I mean, you seen the ones at the zoo and how big they are? Yeah, that's how big that little one will grow. But it's just incredible, the color patterns, and they're like little water puppies. You can train them. I mean, I would whistle coming down, which, mind you, I have a hard time whistling. So the fact that they responded to that was just incredible. But you can whistle, go down, they'll be right there at the edge waiting for food, and you can pet them, and we'd put our hands down in the water full of food, and like one would climb up on your hand, and it's just, they're like your own little water dog. And every single color pattern's different. They're very, when it comes to breeding koi, it can get tricky. It's just, you just make sure to do your research on them. But yeah, I mean, I still do have a pond in my basement. We sold off the pond for outside because we sold off a lot of koi after we did the remodel on our house. But yeah, koi will always be number one in my heart. So that's it, guys. That is the top 10 of my favorite freshwater fish. Stay tuned next week for the top 10 favorite shrimp. Now that'll include both Neocaridina and Caridina species, maybe even some Babaltes or Metallics. We'll see. You'll have to stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, the big question, your tank or mine?